said it's Pastor Mike's son, podcast show.
Welcome to the Pastor Mike's Son podcast show. Got a special guest. He's collaborated with Grammy-nominated artists. He had his work featured in the billboards. He's a Reiki master. Reiki, and hopefully I said it right? Reiki master, but my apologies. He's a trauma-informed coach and an ordained minister, right?
Yeah.
Written the book. So, so without further ado, Baltimore's own Maurice Carroll. All right, Maurice, thank you for joining the show, brother.
Thank you for having me.
We have a lot to talk about, man, because you have a lot that's going on right now, and you've done a lot.
Yeah.
At such a, I'm going to say young age, but I'm not calling you old. So tell the people a bit about yourself before we get into the questions.
Okay, so born and raised Baltimore. I was what they call a child prodigy, where I started playing keyboard at age 3, like picking out melodies. By age 12, I'm the music director at a church.
Oh, I didn't know that.
I started matriculating. Yeah, I started early. And when I say that, I mean, that's when I started getting paid to do it.
I got you.
So, yeah. And then, of course, matriculated up through college, got a full scholarship to Morgan for music under Dr. Nathan Carter.
Yeah.
Then I left Morgan early because I had to switch majors.
Okay. Just like everybody else.
Yeah. And then when I left, that's when I started my record label, and I partnered up with my homeboy, and we started our, I would say, locally esteemed production companies. We started there, and my career just kind of jumped from that.
And what was the name of your production company and studio?
The production company was called Raw Tech Productions. And then the record company was called Stinky Face Music.
Yeah, that's the one I know. Stinky Face.
Yeah. From there, I just kind of kept the music going. I forgot exactly when during that process I went full time, but as of the date of this recording, I've been full time about 27 years now. So all music, all the time. Of course, later, I'm sure we'll talk about this when the other stuff came in. But yeah, I've been doing that, and just, patiently enjoying life.
Okay. All right. So we're going to talk about creativity, technology, all the ways that it transforms lives now these days. So we're going to get into all of that. So with that being said, what's one defining moment that shifted how you saw yourself as a creator?
As a creator, I would say that someone told me what I was doing, and they put a label on it, and I didn't know that is what I was doing. At that time, I'm writing some songs. I'm pulling voices together, telling the musicians what to do. I'm in the booth not in the booth, but I'm in the engineering part, telling the engineer what I was looking for, so forth and so on. And then this is before I opened up my own studio, by the way. And so doing all of that, then I was describing what I was doing to somebody else that was in the industry. And they were like, "Oh, you're a producer." I'm like, "No, I just do this, and I just do this, and I just do this." And he's like, "Yeah, you're a producer." And I'm like, "Well, I'm not sure about that." And he said, "A producer does everything that you're doing."
Absolutely.
And he said, "So yeah," he said, "You're definitely a music producer." And so that was the very first time that I'd heard that definition and kind of like accepted it. Before that time, it was just, "Oh, Maurice, please. Okay. Yeah, some stuff. Yeah, cool." But that was the first time a professional label was given to me. That was the pivot for me. Being able to accept it, to know what it was, and to own it. That was the first pivot for me.
So let's stay on that word creative, right? Because what I think of what a creative is. Because I like to think of myself as a creative too. I think one of the biggest things about being creative is that you can see things that other people can't see. And it can be frustrating at times because it's like, how can you not see that? Like,
Mhm.
you can, like, you can see it through color, you can see it through music, you can see it through, or even designing a room. You can see it, but no one else can see it. Explain to the audience that may not be familiar with how a creative thinks, their process, and how they have visions or see things in order to create.
My understanding, my experience is that when you are a creator, it means that number one, you have vision. It means you have imagination and you are tasked with bringing that into the physical realm. And so what that means is in my head, I could add an artist and say, I can see them doing X, Y, and Z. I can imagine it. I can forecast it mentally. Now, what is it going to take for that to become a reality? Then you got to start implementing the work. Then that's the creative process. For me, a lot of my creative process was through. I was the creator. I am the creator that helps other creators create. And so my art, my creativity comes in. You say, hey, Maurice, I have a song. Okay, well, how far in this process are you? So I'm asking from one creator to another, where are you in your creation? You say, well, I have the lyrics, I got some basic chords, but I imagine it being this. Now you're telling me what what your creation is going to be. My job, my creativity is saying, yeah, I can see that too. And here's how we can do it. And I start pulling from my creative bags and saying, okay, then I throw it all on the table. Here's what I see. Is this what you see? Yes, that's what I see. All right, well, let's build it. And that's my art in terms of a music producer. That's how I create.
Now, do you think it takes a special type of person to be in a relationship with someone that's creative or creator? Because they don't understand that like you need that process alone to gather all your thoughts and visions and be able to create, or just not just that, just to understanding, look, this is what I'm like. Can you understand that? Are you willing to build with that?
I think special would be a way to describe it. I actually think that as long as clear communication is the center and understanding is at the center, then the relationship can work. So if there are any assumptions, that's where the static is going to happen.
Yeah.
And so if you understand, if you're with a creative and you're not a creative, there should be a conversation. Okay, well, as a creative, this is how I move sometimes. And as far as what I know, this is what I do. There are probably things that I do that I don't know. You might be irritated. You might enjoy watching it. I don't know, but you need to know that these are things that are a part of my life. And this is how I move. This is how I exist. And either you can kind of accept it or not. And then you can also communicate, hey, listen, I can compromise with you, but this is how I move. And if that communication is clear and understood, I think pretty much anybody, if you can do those things, communicate and understand, I think you'd be in a good place.
All right. So I'm gonna dig in your business a little bit now. Well, you can pivot if you want. So, with you being in the music business and being creative, has that affected your relationships in a more negative way, or possibly is it hard for you to date, or you just choose to be more married to your music?
Great question. All right. So it's a matter of perspective. That's what it is. Okay. So if you are, when I'm dating, if that person is saying, oh, they need a whole lot of personal me time, I can tell them straight up, hey, look, okay, we need to talk. This is how my life is. Again, going back to the communication. Now, if I'm a rewind, to back when I was married, that conversation was had. And then so that I'm saying perspective because me being busy and always moving and always working took away from family time.
Right.
However, the results of me working, the finances that were coming in, the opportunities that came in is what support the family. It's a matter of perspective, whether it's good or bad. For me, it's like, okay, well, I'm living my life. I'm supporting my family. I'm living my dream. Yay. But on the other side of the table was like, yeah, I don't have my husband. So it's a matter of perspective. Though the communication was there, some things shifted, and that weren't quite communicated clearly out here. But in terms of present, like in dating, it's first of all, it sucks. But dating life is terrible right now. But
So I heard.
yeah. So, but the communication, and so with me specifically, what the challenge that I have is explaining what I'm doing and having it understood because it's such an anomaly. Like you don't meet a single Black male that's taking care of himself, been 27 years and 28 years and doing what he wanted to do, not never been in jail, none of the negative things, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then to say, well, creatively, this is how I move, and the healing space, this is how I move, this is who I am. And this is literally me. You can ask anybody randomly, they're going to tell you exactly how I am because I'm that way all the time. And so to hear that is kind of a challenge, because you hear people call me, well, I've had women say, like, you're a Renaissance guy. And it's because, I can cook, I can clean, I can do the business. I have my own style of dressing, my whole who I am. It's unique to me. I'm not really looking to be cookie cutter. So that can be challenging because it's like, okay, if you're secure in what you're offering, then if you're not secure in offering, then it's going to feel a little intimidating.
Gotcha. So last question on that, on that topic. There's anything you could do differently? What would it be about? You said you was previously married. Anything you would have done differently as far as uh, handling your music and your marriage at the same time?
No.
Nope. I love the honesty, brother. I love the honesty. I love the honesty.
I wouldn't do that. No.
Hey, no, I'm talking about. So, okay. All right, cool. All right. So how has your cultural background shaped your music and the stories you choose to tell through your sound?
So culturally and musically, my base is in the church. So that's where I got my musical foundation. I started off as a church musician, got my chops from church musicians and that whole church world. And so I think that being a church musician gave me an advantage, and I think it gave me a more open ear because it was easier for me to explore other genres because in gospel, you have to know those other genres in order to be proficient in gospel. So in gospel, yeah, of course, you gotta have blues, you gotta know a little bit of jazz, but there was a period where you had to know a little bit of rock. You had to know a little bit of classical. You had to know a little bit of pop music. You had to know a little bit of hip hop. Inside of gospel, I got the experience and the introduction to what these other genres were. And so I think it gave me an advantage because ear-wise, I'm coming from a place where I can hear harmonies. I can hear other musicians' parts. And I also can, because of some of the churches that I played in, I understood control. You can't play everything that you're feeling. Like it's a certain amount of control because you're playing with the band. Like it's one band, one sound kind of thing. And so culturally, I think being a gospel musician gave me quite the advantage. And then also, I forgot, and house music as well.
Yeah. So tell me, as a church musician, the aspect of, do you think church musicians are some of the best musicians in the world because of the multiple styles they play. Because with church, I mean with church musicians, like you said, you have blues, you have a little bit of jazz, you have a little bit of what else?
Classic.
Yeah, classical, all of that. Yeah, all of that. It was is in gospel music as far as being a church musician. So, do you think they're some of the best musicians who work in work, or
Yes, I do think that, but the other industries have agreed. So if you go to pop and R&B, a lot of the lead band members came out of church. Oh,
right?
so
Right.
you have drummers that I personally have played beside, and they are playing for Eminem and Trey. There are other musicians that I've been in vicinities with or on church gigs with. They're Lady Gaga, and they're playing the $multi-million stages.
Right.
So absolutely yes. And then I'll even go further to say that not just gospel musicians, but gospel musicians in and from Baltimore.
That part, yeah. I was just watching. It's funny you said that. I was watching this podcast. What is it called? The guy that plays the piano on the podcast.
Oh yes.
Yes, and he had Joe Pryor um on his podcast, and Joe was playing. He's like, "This is the Baltimore sound." And the guy was like, "Yeah, because some of the best musicians come from Baltimore."
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. It's not a question.
Yeah.
The thing is that it's an industry knowledge. If you're in the music industry, oh yeah, I'm gonna sneak over to Baltimore and I'm gonna find me somebody that plays this, and then I'm gonna pick them up and I'm out.
Yeah.
But in terms of the public view, you don't hear about it much. You just see them on stage, and it's like, hey, isn't that?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. And so let me ask you this about church musicians, because a lot of times church musicians, they tend to bounce around a lot of different churches. So, do you think church musicians should just focus on getting the income just from the church, or should they have an outside income? Because that's one of the reasons why a lot of church musicians bounce from church to church, because that is their income.
I think that a church musician should be diversified.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Hands down. I think that sometimes church musicians bounce around for multiple reasons. A lot of times,
Oh yeah, we know because I know
churches don't always know how to treat the musician, and I think a lot of times when that abuse happens, it causes a musician to say, "Okay, that's enough," and I'm going to start to look. I think that, or they're promised something, and that promise never comes. They hold along for X amount of time, saying, no, we got you. We're going to do this. And it never happens. And so it causes musicians to jump around then. I've seen very few cases where a musician will switch because of their own personal growth. You want to go to some place where you can expand and grow around other musicians that you can learn from.
Right.
Sometimes that happens as well.
Yeah. So let me give you your flowers, man, because a lot of musicians don't like to share the knowledge. You share the knowledge with me, like you mentored me. I've seen you mentor a lot of guys. What is that guy name? It was the young guy. He was playing keys. He was a teenager at the time.
Yeah.
What's his name?
No, who you? Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Name slips my mind.
Yeah, and there was another guy too. So you mentored so many guys, man. So I just want to give you flowers because not a lot of musicians do that. They would withhold the knowledge because they don't want nobody to be better than them. So the goal is, if you're a mentor, you want them to be better than you. Absolutely. That's because they're coming from your lineage. They're coming from your tree. You can say they came from my camp. You know what I'm saying? So that's crazy. So
So with that, there's an ego that happens with that. So you have musicians that are humble, and you have musicians that act like they're humble. So some of them, you can go and give them a compliment. Man, you was killing. What was that? I ain't not, they ain't not, man. They ain't no shit.
Right.
That's the fake. The real is, I mean, I can show you what I did. Now, if you ask me what it is, I don't know what it is, but this is what I did. That's the true love.
Yeah.
What I found that works for me is, it's not for me. It's not even about really saying that they're from my camp. I like admiring where watching the journey from behind the stage.
Yeah.
I like that part of the process.
Yeah.
There's one guy plays bass, and when he was about 12 years old, when I'm on, and kind of mentored him, and he just he was a part of the house band for the last Stellar Awards. And bro, I sent him a text probably like, hey bro, I see you, I'm proud of you. And then he sent a text back. He was just like, yeah, he said, you're home. That's home. You're home for me, and it's little things like that. I don't need the front facing, that's my cat.
Right.
I don't need all of that. And to me, it's art. It's creativity. Yeah, I think the people that I mentor should become better than me. I think that they should come from my jobs. You know what I mean? Why? Because creatively, it means I get to do and learn something else and do something different. I've played around, guys that play circles around me. And it could be intimidating because these are people that are on records, still hold several records. And then it's like, yeah, but you can't produce a song like I produce a song. Yeah, you can play.
Yeah.
But music production, I got you.
Yeah. Man, there's a lot of cats that can play but can't produce.
Yeah.
There's a lot of cats like that.
And sometimes you're affecting musician that you don't know. So, so there was one guy, he gave me his, my flowers. It was kind of, I don't say we were at an event. He was just like, man, it's really good to see you. And he's literally playing at one of the largest mega churches here now.
Oh, wow.
And he said, yo, listen, he was like, you were the first guy that, I worked in the studio when I got, he's not from Baltimore. And he was like, he said, you always, doing X, Y, and Z. And he's like, damn, he was like, the way that you move, he was like, well, cats don't do that, man. And he was like, no, you really helped me. You did this and that. I was just like, I let the fake come up. And I was like, man, shut up, whatever. And then he was just like, nah, dog. He was like, for real. And I was like, okay. He was like, my bad.
So yes, do you accept compliments or do you just shrug them off?
I don't shrug them off. It's hard for me to hear them. It's hard for me to.
I understand exactly what you're saying.
It's hard to accept, and my standards are so high. So it's when somebody tells me, "Man, you really did a good job," my mind goes immediately to what could I have done better. Man, are you gaslighting me?
That part, right? Right.
And so here recently, I've learned to accept what I'm good at and how good I am.
Yeah.
And having a reality based around it so I can feel if somebody's gaslighting me for real or not.
Right.
So I've learned how to do that over the years. I just recently, maybe probably the last 5 years, started understanding like, all right, Reese, you're good at this. You're really good at this. You're okay at this. So if somebody over exaggerates the okay thing, now I got to assess, are you saying that based on your bar because what you've seen is so low, or are you gaslighting me? So it's just being really, really aware.
Yeah. So when you're in the studio and you're creating the process, are you that type of person where you have to be in the studio by yourself, or can you like a lot of people in the studio with you?
Definitely not a lot of people.
Yeah.
I've never been one for a lot of people in the studio. I'm very sensitive to energy. And so I can't have a lot of people, at the most three. And that's pushing it for me. When I'm creating for myself, I like to be alone. But if I'm creating with another artist or with another producer, it's fine because we can kind of collaborate in the moment and magic happens there. But yeah, I can't do the crowded. I call it the media studio. Can't, a whole bunch of people smoking, 8 and 9 people in the booth, and
Right.
5 or 6 managers in the
Right,
room.
right.
I can't.
You should do it like this. No, you should do it like that.
Yeah, I can't do that. And it also depends on um, what title, what is my position in that moment. So if I'm just the engineer, then I'm just being hired to press the buttons and make sure the signal is what it's supposed to be. If I'm the producer, oh no, y'all got to wait outside because I got to work.
So that's interesting. So let me ask you this, because I've seen this happen a lot of times in studios.
Mm-hmm.
Like, say if you just hired to be the audio man, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you're dealing with an artist that knows nothing about audio engineering,
Mm-hmm.
and they're trying to tell you, what are you doing? This is not right. You need to turn this up. You need to turn that down. How do you deal with that, knowing that they're wrong?
I give them what they want. They're paying me to give them what they want. Do I know what it's supposed to be? If they say, "Nah, don't do this. Turn my mic up.
Mm-hmm.
Put some EQ on it."
All right.
Okay, that's what you want. Yeah, like that. Yo, make my sound like that all the time. Okay, cool. Be safe all the time. That's how you want your sound, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, cool. So the trick comes in is when they say, "Yo, what you think?"
Right.
And so typically in that kind of setting, my response would be something along the lines of, "Well, was this what you're looking for? Let's play it again." And I'll play it. And then if they're cool with it, they're cool with it. If they have a correction they want to make, then they'll make the correction. It has nothing to do with my personal opinion.
All right.
So
How reverse psychology. Absolutely. Gotcha. All right. So music often heals in ways words cannot. Was there a moment in your life when music itself healed you?
a moment.
Mm-hmm.
So there are always moments, to pick out one would be giving a disservice to the rest of my life. I can't pick out one.
Yeah.
Going back to the beginning when I'm learning how to play 2 and 3 notes at the same time with my right hand and 1 and 2 with the left hand. That's saving me because it's teaching me and it's growing me. Going and hearing a musician who I think is terrible grows me. I know what not to do.
Right.
I know it made me listen more intently to see, did they do anything that I so that improves my ear. It improves my listening. So it's hard to say 1 or 2 or 3 different things because music is such a part of my life.
Yeah.
When you move into like the sounds and sound healing and all of that kind of stuff, it's I can't even imagine a week where music isn't doing that.
Okay, so this is a great segue into mindfulness and healing, since you brought it up. and forgive me if I say this wrong, then
Reiki.
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 Oh,
K-E-Y.
Reiki. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you're a Reiki master.
There we go.
Trauma informed. For people unfamiliar, how would you?
Okay, so first of all, so many. So sound healing deals specifically with vibration and frequency and how it affects like your body. So it helps you with lowering your anxiety and depression and stress. It helps with your blood pressure. It lowers your heart rate. It helps control your breathing. It deals with like a lot of your different bodily systems. So to kind of help you get into a relaxed state and closer to what your body state is supposed to be.
Okay. All right. So that's exactly what it is. So what would you recommend to someone that's trying to find a good way to meditate as far as that sound healing, right? Because I know it takes discipline, right? In order to actually sit down, be quiet, and let the sound do its work, and just focusing on meditating. What advice would you give someone that in order to figure out how to do that and be disciplined in doing that?
I don't subscribe to it being hard.
Okay.
I don't. I think it's unknown a lot of people, but
Right.
in terms of difficulty. It's not difficult at all. So in order to kind of understand why it's not difficult, you have to take away the mysticism of meditation, of sound healing, and of that whole world industry, however you wanna put it. If you and it's been a flight of mine ever since I've gotten introduced to it now to kind of take away the mysticism of it, because it's not that I'm wearing white and sitting in a forest and my legs are crossed and my eyes are closed and my index and thumb are pinched together. It's not all that. Meditation is simply being present in the present moment. It's being aware in the present moment. So it means, so for example, I could sit here and meditate for literally 2 minutes. And what it is, okay, let me observe what is happening in this present moment. What is my body doing? Am I tense? Am I relaxed? What do I hear in the room? What do I smell in the room? And then just like anybody else, you're going to have those random thoughts that are going to kind of come in and attempt to interrupt your present moment. Your mind just does that. So one of the first steps that I tell people, stop thinking that you're going to be able to clear your mind. That is not meditation. That's not how it works. And anybody that told you, oh, well, yeah, I just want to clear my mind, they're lying. They're lying. That is not how, because even if you're thinking about clearing your mind and it being blank, you're still thinking, so there's no clearing of your mind. Now you can be, there are elevations to being in the present moment, and there are different layers of that. Yes, of course. But what I kind of tell people to do, like when you're taking that moment to yourself and you want to be grounded, that's one of the key terms, be grounded, to be centered, to be in the present moment. When those thoughts comes, the way that I deal with mine, those random thoughts, I treat them like little annoying kids. That's what I do. So we could be sitting in a meditation, and I use this as an example when I'm doing the meditations and when I'm explaining it, I'll say, okay, we're sitting in the present moment now, and your thought will come and say, oh, yeah, I need to go get some gas when I leave here. So the object is to acknowledge the thought, but then to let it go. The more real world, to take away the mysticism of that. Same example, sitting in the present moment, and you're like, okay, yeah, I got to go get some gas. And when I leave here, yes, I do got to get some gas, but I'll get back to that. I'm here now. So you kind of push it, hey, kid, no, I see you. I'll be back. Give me a second. I'm like, that's a great way of dealing with that. That's how you do it. I like to suggest that you don't ignore it, because the same way, like if you treat it like a child and you ignore it, they're just going to come at you harder. They want your attention. So it's very important to acknowledge that you had the thought and just to put it away. You're like, okay, look, hey, yeah, I know I'm hungry. I'll deal with it after I leave here. I'm in this moment right now. And you just bring it back. And that's why they call it a practice. It's not something so saying, okay, you're a master in these things, it just means that I've gotten really, really good at it. It doesn't mean it is perfected. It's going to be continually a learning experience. And the other reason why I say that it's not hard is because I teach people, it doesn't matter what type of music you listen to. I can teach you how to meditate inside of whatever music you traditionally listen to. One of my students, she had to apologize to the rest of the class before she picked the song that she wanted to use as an example, because she likes hard rock music. I mean, like thrash metal, that kind of stuff. You hear, and you talked about how to meditate. Absolutely. Wow. Absolutely, yes. That's interesting. So when you do that, it's really just remembering what is meditation. It's really about being in the present moment. So if I teach you how to listen to thrash metal differently, you can meditate inside of it. You know what I mean? So it doesn't matter. You can meditate to Stevie Wonder, you can meditate to Guar, you can meditate, it doesn't matter. It's the technique of meditation that's important. So with
all the traumas that you've had in your life or situations you had in your life, how do you use so do you use just sound healing, or do you do multiple forms of meditation as far as your mental health and making sure that you're staying positive and positive vibes?
I use a few different techniques. I'm someone that I can, if I repeat something too much, it's like, okay, either I'm gonna get really good at it or I'm gonna get really tired of it. So in terms of using sound healing, yes, I'll use you go on YouTube or something and you find the real soft, like one or two note kind of real ethereal kind of music. I will use that. I'll listen to my own stuff that I make like that. But I can, because of that technique that I just mentioned, I can do that as well. That's one form of meditation. I do walking meditations. I do breathing meditations. Um, the self-care part is really important to me. It's helping me maintain and protect my peace.
Let me ask you this: do you allow yourself to have your moment, man, this is BS, and then, all right, I have my moment now. It's time for me to be sure. Do you think it's important for you to have your moment, or?
I think that it's important to be real with yourself. So if you thinking that you can suppress that feeling and that it's not going to come back and erupt at some point, you're just out of your mind.
Right.
It's going so it's really a matter of am I going to release this now or later? Or have I gotten so much control over it that it's not going to show it? You know what I mean?
Right.
So for me, yeah, I've had moments where it's just like, all right, I've even gotten to the point in my journey where I will allow myself a certain amount of time to be in that emotional state. So it's like, okay, this is making me feel angry. So while I'm going through the emotional state, I'm still observing myself.
Right.
So being able to say, yeah, I'm angry right now. I'm observing the emotion that I'm feeling. So I'm like, okay, now I can regulate that. All right, look, you can be mad for 10 minutes. After that, so now off. So now how do I fix this? How do I reset? All right, I got it out. All right, let me reset. And then that's when all of the tools will start. Where it's like, okay, all right, you were mad. Okay, cool. Was it worth being mad? Does it require any more of your energy? Do you want to give this any more of your energy? Do you want it to deplete from your happiness and your peace? Or do you want to continually be angry? Did you get it all out? No, I didn't get it all out. Well, okay, 2 more minutes.
Right. Exactly.
All right. After that, we leaving it alone because now at this point it's taking away from the rest of your life.
Exactly.
So it's really kind of regulating what and allowing yourself to have those moments.
Yeah, it's good stuff, man. Good stuff. Good stuff. All right. So you wrote starting your sound healing journey.
Right.
What inspired you to put your teachings into a book? And what's the biggest takeaway you want readers to walk away with?
I was inspired to write it because of something that I mentioned earlier about the mysticism. I am so forward about taking the mysticism away from spiritual practices like this. Was my way of saying, hey, look, I'm just like you, and here's my upbringing. And this is not as complex as what the media and the way that it's presented would have you think. It's not that. It's simpler than what you think that it is. And so the book is saying, okay, here are the definitions. This is what this is. This is what that is. This is how you use it. And it's very introductory. I want to get started kind of form. And it's like, hey, listen, I'm in the book is very conversationally based.
Yeah.
So that it doesn't feel like I'm talking at you. It's like I'm talking with you. Like, all right, look, you're interested? All right, come on. Let me show you here. Here's the ground level. These are the things when people say this term, this is really what they mean. Oh, you heard this term before? This is really what they mean. And it's breaking it down in that way. The biggest takeaway is to understand that it's a quick read. It's a quick and easy read. I don't think that, well, my experience for when I got into it, I drowned in so many of the terms, so much of the terminologies and practices. And I wanted to write the book so that somebody else didn't have to drown. Like they could have that they could kind of stay on the outskirts and say, oh yeah, it's deep over there, but I'm right here and just getting my feet wet real quick. That's the way the book is written. So if you don't need a whole lot, you don't want to be ambushed with a whole bunch of different modalities and words, and that the book is for you.
Okay. All right. And we can get it off the Amazon, right?
You can you can start there, but it's pretty much everywhere.
Okay.
Digitally, and there's an audio book version as well.
Okay.
If they go to my website, you'll find it there, and that'll point you in the directions of where it is.
Okay. All right. So you've worked with caregivers and neurodiverse. What have you learned from those communities about resilience and healing?
Is that everybody needs it. That's
Definitely not lying about that, but
everybody.
You're definitely not lying about that.
So with the neurodivergent, it's understanding how the communication works and knowing, okay, what triggers are. For me and my experience, those were the things that I learned the quickest. For example, when you're in front of a crowd, you can kind of base you can kind of assume how the crowd is feeling based on their reactions. You can see people smiling or clapping or something like that, and you're getting a response from them so that you like, okay, yeah, get it, and I can push forward.
Right.
Sometimes when you're dealing with divergency, you don't get that, and so it's just like, okay, are they getting?
Yeah.
And so I learned that a lot of times it's them processing what it is that's happening, and the sign that they're not interested anymore. Some of them would just get up, or they'll just start doing something else.
And you're totally fine with that.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So, then also I do sessions at senior centers and senior homes and retirement centers and things like that. Um, this is going on the science side of things as well. When you age, mental capacities kind of start to fade. And so, medically speaking, scientifically speaking, some of those synapses that were firing very well are not firing the way that they used to. And so, reaching back to catch a memory is way harder. So, with the sound healing meditations that I do with them, a lot of times I'm keeping in mind what they need, both what their body needs, which is the relaxation so their blood pressures and stuff can come down, they relax and the muscles aren't as tense as what they were when they walked in. It's also remembering cognitively, okay, well, what do they need at this stage? Oh, well, they need their minds to be active in a certain way. So a lot of times I'm activating their memories, activating gratefulness and joy and cheer, because, sometimes my understanding is when you're in those situations, depression hits differently, anxiety, anxiety hits differently. So my job at that point is to make sure that I'm not just doing the woo, feel good stuff, but it's really, are their minds going to reaching back and getting that brain function firing in a certain way. So all the way around, I'm not one of those sound healers that will just, set my bowl up and be like, ooh, everybody close your eyes. Ding. And what I do is very intentional with how I do it, even down to what frequencies I'm using and what situations. It's very, very, very intentional.
Now, patience is very, this is skills. I would say this is skills. And doing what you do calls for patience. And I remember a time working with you back in the day and where we were. I'm not gonna say where we were. I think we in a place where we both we doing music. And a lot of times you were losing patience. You were very impatient. So tell me, how did you gain that skill of patience, of learning how to be more patient and dealing with certain aspects, certain situations?
I'm a very patient person.
Yes.
And I've grown to have an extraordinary amount of patience.
Mhm.
So the situation you're talking about, it was just regular me. You know, sometimes in a musical situation,
Mhm.
if I know that the potential that is there is way more achievable, and the only reason why it's not being achieved is the lack of action, that is what frustrates me.
Yeah.
They're like, no, I know you can hit the note. I know y'all can blend. You're not doing it because you want to be lazy.
Right. Right.
That frustrates me versus, okay, I'm am I singing it right? And you're giving that effort. Okay, now I can show you the patience. But when it's a blatant laziness thing, that's kind of when I'll lose it. You know what I mean? But overall, like you have to remember that people are where they are. And so my patience from that perspective is to kind of understand that just because I know something doesn't mean everybody else knows it. My level of understanding, it may not be common. And so some people learn differently. You know, I might have to repeat the same thing 4 times in order for you to start to understand what I'm saying.
Right.
You know, the thing for me is progress. I am in love with progress. So as long as progress is happening, I'm just like, oh, okay.
Right.
Yep, I'll wait.
Right.
No problem. Okay. You know, oh, you need another step. Here's another one. All right. Come on. My patience, that's where my patience comes from.
When was the last time you lost complete control?
With a situation or within myself?
Both.
Okay. So within myself, it was this past August.
Oh, okay.
I lost it. Like I lost it enough where I was psychiatrically hospitalized.
Oh, wow. I didn't know. Wow.
I really lost it. And then it's been a while since I've lost it in a situation. It's been quite. I can't remember the last time it's been in a situation, but because for me, it's been a few years that I've moved into a space where understanding of things are what they are, and people are going to do what they're going to do, and it's not my responsibility to control what they do. It's my responsibility to control how I react.
Yeah.
And if you break that down, the way that I also see it is my response ability. I have an ability to respond the way that I want to respond. And it really only takes a pause. So it's been a while since I've kind of blown up. Have I gotten frustrated? Yeah.
Yeah.
Have I gotten upset, mad, angry? Yes. Have I been sad? Yeah. But losing it on the situation, I don't want to give anybody or any situation that amount of power.
Yeah, I totally agree. So yeah, I agree. All right. So let's move on to technology and AI innovation.
What's it doing?
Wi-Fi. Like I said, I want to do my research all the time. All right. All right. So let's transform into technology and AI innovation.
Okay.
All right. You hold certifications in AI innovation, prompt engineering, AI ethics. So what drew you into this new frontier of creativity?
It was me being selfish.
Sometimes we have to be selfish. So
I knew that I have, when I'm asking people questions or if I want to find out information, I know that I have, not on purpose, but I've learned that I have a very vague and weird way of making people have to dig into what I'm actually asking. So they have to end up asking me questions so they can understand what I'm asking. I knew that prompt engineering is a computer, no feelings, no emotion, no nothing, and it's going to give you exactly what you say to it. So I knew that if I learned how to prompt engineer, it was going to make me be able to ask questions better. And it was going to force me to really think about what I need to say. And so selfishly, I was like, well, this ain't got to do with anybody else. This is me wanting to be better.
Right.
I need to get better at this. Ask somebody a question. I don't need them to look at me like, what are you asking me? Like, if you got to ask me that back, I'm not being clear. So it was really selfishness. It was me saying, okay, I need to learn how to ask questions more clearly to get to the bottom of what I want to know.
Right.
And so I started with prompt engineering, and I learned, okay, say this way. Make sure you can be as complete as possible when you're prompting. And after I've gotten the certifications, fast forward a little bit, my conversations have changed. So when I'm speaking with someone, I'm being way more clear, keeping my thoughts in a sequential order, making sure that every step along the way I'm being clear. Because I know that if I'm prompt engineering, it's only if you say write a story about a boy going home from school, it's going to write that. But if I prompt it and I say, I am a 13-year-old Black male in Baltimore City, and I'm in the city, West Baltimore, single parent. I'm going to a public school where I'm being bullied, and I want to find a way out. Write a story about that. That's way different. And so learning prompt engineering is like, okay, that's where I learned that from.
So there's a lot of fear, and like you talked about it, around AI replacing creativity. So from your perspective, how can AI actually enhance the work of musicians, healers, and educators?
AI is a tool. It's a tool. I empathize with the fear. I watch the movies too. I get it. I understand how quickly it's evolving. I understand that as well. I do understand that being a creator, being human is more valuable. It's only going to learn what we teach it. It's only.
Yeah.
So as a music creator, it's like understanding, okay, well, I wanted to do this. It's also understanding what the laws and so forth are around AI, and as they are figuring out the laws and what the boundaries are, that's fine. But it's to learn, how can I use this to help me create something more? The challenge with that is that you have a lot of people who are in our industry. They're in the music business. They're not in the music art. And so if you're in the music business, of course, the goal is to make money. You're going to take AI and you're going to manipulate it and take advantage of it, and then take advantage of the system so you can get that bag.
Yeah.
I get it. I get it. The challenge with that is that when so many people are using it a certain way, it starts to learn, which is how you can prompt it and say, okay, give me this type of song, and it spits it out and it's flawless. Okay, that's cool. But sometimes for me, I need to hear the mistakes. I need to hear that everything is not super tight. I need to hear the warmth of the music. Vibrationally, I can feel it. You know what I mean? So can AI be intimidating as a creator? Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it's a lot of artists right now that are kind of upset about it. Like, because what's the new software, Suno?
Suno.
Yeah, a lot of artists are not feeling Suno.
Right.
They think, well, they can just use our voice and they don't need us anymore. So,
yeah, so what I've done personally, I've used Suno and I've tested it to see what it can and can't do. What I'm learning to do now is, okay, well, what can I create that digitally AI is not going to be able to do? So now we're going back to the feel.
right.
That we're going back to the nuances and the, the improv or not to improv. It's going back to that kind of stuff. And it's going back to, okay, what skills do I have? If AI is creating this like this, and that's what people like, my skills at that stage. Okay, well, what can I do? What can I learn from that to get my skills up to that? You know what I mean?
Right.
'Cause my prediction is that after a while, it's going to be so AI is going to be music is going to be so standard that people are going to want to crave the human.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
So okay,
Mhm.
you know,
Mhm.
I'm on the team. I'm an AI advocate, but I'm more so a creator advocate.
Yeah.
So it's
Yeah.
like, okay, well, look, it's going to happen.
Mhm.
It's kind of like the internet and home computers. It's going to happen.
Mhm.
How are we going to use it? What
Yeah.
we going to do with it?
Yep.
No, and let's move from there. I told a friend of mine the other day. Yeah, it's cool that AI does all of this, and okay, so now what happens to the live gig? Though? You know what I mean? That's good for listening. That's great. Now we're live. Now, okay, now I know you're not going to play the song exactly how it was on the way that I heard it. So what's going to be different? That's the creative. That's human.
Yep.
You know what I mean? So now, if AI gets to that stage, then I'm gonna have a race stopper. You performing on stage too, right?
Like real life. Yeah.
Right, right.
So, transformation through music, through harmonic and mind wellness group and musical expressions with friends. So you touch many lives. Can you share one story of transformation that sticks with you?
With so musical expressions, I'm sorry, musical expression with friends is the one of the programs that I work with the neurodivergent teams. There was one special moment that stood out to me where I was teaching them how to create music, and it's using the DAW. I was using Logic and showing them basically the easy way to say it. I was teaching them how to make beats.
Right.
That's what I was doing. And at the end, after we made the beat, it was okay. Well, who wants to perform? One of the guys got up. He just voluntarily just got up and got to the mic. I was like, all right, well, now what do we do? Because he didn't ask for a particular beat. And so I just threw a beat on and he freestyled. And, you know, he's just going for it, doing his Baltimore dance and everything and freestyling about his grandfather and some other things. And then, you know, I faded out because he was going to keep going. So I faded the music out. And then, you know, he went back to see we kept going with the rest, you know, the rest of the participation. I didn't know when he came up. I didn't know at the time. So one of the parents came up and she was expressing to the director of how he doesn't do that. And she was saying, she's like, pointing to me, she was like, he's good because there are different types of neurodivergency. And his is what they call, I don't know what the politically correct way to say it is, so please forgive me. But he mutable, where he says very, very little. And in order to understand what he's feeling or not feeling or wants to do or not do, you just kind of have to read his body language and go with that. So, like, if he gets real fidgety, you'll say, hey, do you need to go take a walk? And he'll just shake his head, yes, and then he'll go take a walk. And so he can get that energy out and get them together or whatever. So, to have him voluntarily get up on a mic in front of people to freestyle.
That's crazy.
It was nuts. Like, it was a real tearjerker for me, you know, and because, you know, seeing the parent like in awe, like he's never done that before. Like, that's the parent. You birth.
Yeah, you with them, yeah, you know, more than what, 20 hours, 24 hours a day.
Right. And so to see your child do something different that they've never done, and it's through the music that I'm helping them create. I can't, that's a tearjerker.
Right.
You know what I mean? So that was a major, major, major thing for me.
Wow.
And then moving forward, there were other situations that happened like that where it started to be a continual thing. Like, I'm getting stories like, oh my God, like this is working, you know? Even so much as so, like, during the breaks, I will play healing music and to see them settle and to have parents kind of be like, they don't beat us calm, or have another parent say, hey, what are you playing? Because I need this when I'm home. You know, having that effect it was mind blowing to me. In other situations, wellness stuff, I've used it in church. Uh, do they always know? No, not at all. But yeah, the seniors, I had a senior at the end of my meditations. I asked them if they have anything they want to share with the group or anything like that. And this one lady, she didn't have anything to share, but when we were leaving out, she was telling employee that worked there how soothing it was for her. And so if you can imagine a little woman walking out of this little classroom, she was insisted walk. Oh, you're walking. And she had a walker, and crying, walking out, saying it felt so good. I can't. It felt like a good sermon, and I just felt like I'm so relaxed and I'm so uplifted. And she's crying, walking out, telling another employee that. Right. And then the employee comes back, Maurice, they like you. Wow. And it's like, okay, cool. And then the employee giving me details about the story. Oh, okay. Or having another senior come to me and say, listen, when you're doing these meditations, it feels like I'm not even breathing. Like I want to look at my watch to see how if my blood pressure is dropping, and it's amazing because I always feel so relaxed. And or having them, I can't even stand up. Can I have a second? Yeah, like I'm too relaxed. I don't even want to get up. You take your time. You know, um, seeing that type of impact, and then when I do my community versions of sound healing and meditation to hold space for other people that are also instructors. I've had several people that teach yoga, that teach meditation, that teach Reiki, that, they're in the field, but they're always giving, 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 giving. And to be able to come to my environment and get poured into, and then to have them react like, I came in here feeling this way, and now I feel like this. Thank you. That was the recharge. Now I can go back and do what I was doing. Right. And to know, like indirectly, I'm having effects on people that I haven't met or seen because I'm helping their teacher rejuvenate. Right. It's a very rewarding um, modality to be in. Yeah, I don't imagine sharing those. I mean, when other people think it's impossible, and you having the expertise to bring that aspect out of people. Yeah. I know. It's like you said, it's a tearjerker gratification that you can't explain in the words. So with that being said, when you think about your future work, what impact do you hope to leave on society in the next 10 to 20 years? That has been a question that I have, once upon a time, I knew the answer to it, and now I don't. And here's why. I'm in this path where I'm drifting, and it's kind of like, okay, well, I don't know what I'm going to do next. I don't know what I'm supposed to do next. I don't know where I'm supposed to be. I just know that I'm going, and whatever this transformation is that I'm going through, I'm open to it. There is a little bit of apprehension because I'm one of those people that like to know what's happening. I like to plan and control, et cetera, et cetera. So to not know is challenging for me. The impact that I would like to have or leave, it would more so be about people learning from my experiences. So to kind of take whatever the music that I left, the teachings that I've taught, what I've shared, to take all of that stuff and put it under your feet so we can, go a little bit higher. Right. Use that as a foundation and move higher. Kind of going back to what you were talking about, like, how I'm teaching and sharing. Yeah. It's like, yeah, it's cool. I'm not going to be it forever. It's better. Somebody says, oh yeah, I learned this from Reese. Well, who's he? Okay, well, yeah, this is a dude. Yeah. Anyway, I learned it from him, and I'm giving it to you. Like, whatever. Like, that's fine by me. So legacy in that sense, meaning like, okay, somebody could go back and say, look, listen to this and listen to that. That's what he was doing. And you could look at the years when it was created to see where I was and, like that kind of stuff. And I want people to remember how I made them feel. That's what I want.
And I totally agree with you because everyone wants to leave with some type of legacy. Well, I wouldn't say everyone because Mike Tyson said in his interview, legacy doesn't mean anything.
Right.
Mike Tyson is a different individual.
Right.
But I definitely understand what you're saying. And the work that you've done, like from the outside, I actually can say that you've definitely uh, completed. Now I would say completed, done right work to help others. I want to say, like you said, you still on that journey. So that's why I said complete.
Man, yo, he got me viewed. I ain't seen no viewed.
Yeah. So, what advice would you give to young creatives who want to merge art, healing, and technology, but feel unsure where to begin?
Where to begin? Being open-minded and looking at process, researching. I can't express that enough. Too many people are looking the part and not knowing what they're doing, and testing things for yourself in private, in the dark, and looking for any accolades and learning things for yourself instead of learning in front of people. Don't do everything, front stage or on camera. Learn behind the scenes, learn and do it on your own, and be quiet. Be quiet about it. Like, learn it, because if you're quiet about it, you'll start to hear the noise. If you're a part of the noise, you can't hear what the contribution is of the noise. So be quiet.
What is one thing throughout your journey, out your life? What is one thing that you've unlearned when you were young to where you're at now? That you said, I'm not going to teach my kids this. I'm not going to do this as an adult, or I'm just, I'm going to make this because I don't want this trauma, or it doesn't have to be a trauma. It's just something that you want to unlearn because you feel like you've learned about it and it's not the correct way of doing that. There's a better way of doing.
When I was younger, I thought that I was special. I was one of those geeky little talented kids that everybody liked to pick on. Playing music.
Right.
My grades are super high. Principals list all the time. All those extracurricular activities, like selling and that stuff. I thought I was special. So what I unlearned, I learned it in a phrase, right? The phrase is, you're unique, just like everybody else.
See how simple that is, man. See, I had to overcome it. You're unique just like everybody else. Wow. Complex, but so simple.
Right. Right.
That's wild. All right. So before we wrap up tonight, let everybody know what you have going on right now and what should we be expecting from Maurice.
Right now, it's all about the website, mauricecarroll.com. I am in this age where we are now with AI and everybody's pushing all of these different businesses and entrepreneurship and selling you everything. I'm doing the opposite. I am going with whoever is finding me and whoever is resonating with what I'm doing. That's who I'm focusing on. If it's 5 people, if it's 5,000 people, I'm going to niche market to people that I'm not doing a whole lot of advertising. So it's the website. And so that means, okay, my classes, the books, the merch, the blogs, podcasts, whatever I'm doing, I'm going there. And I want to have people that are organically dealing with me and interacting with me. I'm not worried about the social media stuff anymore. I know we talked about that off camera, but I'm not worried about that anymore. I just want to deal with and work with who I'm supposed to work with and do it. I don't want to sell. I don't want to sell healing. I don't want to sell it.
That's different from a lot of people.
Yeah, I don't want to sell it. If it's something that I can offer that's going to help you, and I'm also not saying I'm doing stuff for free. I still gotta eat, and my time, it's still worth something. but I'm not going to be, you're probably not going to see commercials from me.
Gotcha.
You might see a flyer, oh, Maurice is doing this, but you're not going to see, come and take my class and join this. And if you're on my website and you're on my mailing list, yeah, you'll probably get something from there. But that's also because you decided this is the environment that I want to be in for, whatever I'm teaching, doing, whatever. If I'm doing a retreat, if you're not on the website, you don't know about it. I'm okay with it.
Simple as that.
I'm okay. I'm okay with it.
Simple as that. All right. So before we wrap up, last question. What is some words of wisdom for, because like I said, the podcast for season 1, we're talking about men's mental health, right?
Right.
So what is some words of wisdom for young men or even the seasoned men out there that may be going through some mental health issues and need that help or don't want to seek that help? What is some wisdom that you can give to those young men and older men?
That is a great question. There's so much. I would start with be real with yourself. Be real with yourself and be true to yourself. It's okay for you to have emotions and express the emotion. It's okay if you're not perfect. You have these anxieties, depression, stress. I know they say as men, traditional men, push it down. I'm saying, hey, look, I'm not saying get on social media and do it on camera,
right?
But I am saying, get yourself some self-care. If that is therapy, go to therapy. If that is talking with with a group of guys and all of y'all on the same page, then do that. If it is getting your physical health in order, do that. But to do something and make progress. Do something.
Absolutely. Well, thank you, man. We appreciate all the wisdom that you've given us today. Thank you on the creativity, healing, and technology that we talked about. And we're looking forward to seeing more things from you. And then before we wrap up, we always say, same blood. As I started this podcast with both of my sons, different views, one mic. All right. So everybody have a great night, and we'll see you next time. So.
Mic check 1, 2. Yeah. I said it's past the mic, son. Podcast show. Men's mental health, I had to let you know. I said it's past the mic, son. Podcast show. Men's mental health, I had to let you know. It's past the mic, son. Podcast show. Men's mental health, I had to let you know. It's past the mic, son. Podcast show. Men's mental health, I had to let you know. Every single man needs some support. Go ahead, speak your mind, don't hold back, let's talk. Every single man needs some support. Go ahead, speak your mind, don't hold back, let's talk. Now I see you at your lowest, I've been there before. Tell me what's been on your mind lately.